All right, hey everyone, I'm Dan Morgenstern. Very excited to welcome you, if you'll please excuse the holiday pun, to Slay It, which we hope will serve as a useful guide for store teams to gear up for the holiday rush and learn a little bit about what customers are expecting this holiday season. And I'm joined by our Chief Customer Officer at True Rating, Gareth Johns. Gareth guides retailers to craft data-driven strategies that enhance our customer experience and ultimately drive growth. And today he brings not only his very extensive experience in customer insights, but also the data that True Rating has captured across tens of thousands of consumers so far this holiday season and their thoughts around holiday shopping. So Gareth, good to be here with you today.
Yeah, good to have a chat.
Awesome. So yeah, let's kick things off. First up, why don't we start with timing? So I'm curious. We've had kind of a later Thanksgiving this year and a later, which means a later Black Friday. But what impact does that are we seeing on customer shopping? So when are they actually doing their shopping this year? Is it any different than the timing of last year?
Yeah, so we've been asking customers questions about this for the last couple of weeks, starting on the 28th of October. So yeah, we've got about 2 weeks so far, and we've got about another six and a bit weeks to go till the holiday season. So what we've seen over the last 2 weeks is that about a quarter of customers are already reporting that they are completed with their holiday shopping. So it's pretty impressive, and puts me to shame. But
I'm
um,
not bucket.
but actually, along with that, those that have at least said that they've started, there is the end of the first week, it was about 20%, and then as of yesterday, it was up to 24%. So, what does that mean? About half of customers haven't started yet, and probably another quarter are on their way. And if we compare that with previous years, it's pretty similar. That's sort of the behaviour that we see. We've tracked it every year for the last couple of years, since really, yeah, 2021, 22, just whenever COVID kind of was over. Um, and yeah, by the end of November, if it continues the way that we're talking, we would expect about half of customers to be shopping, a third to have finished by the end of November, half of customers to finish by mid-December, and at least a third of customers to still be buying their final items come Christmas Eve, the 24th of December. So it's definitely all out there still to play for. There's lots of opportunities still to capture that kind of peak period for retailers.
I'm all too familiar with that last minute scramble, but that's a pretty big number to still hang out there on the last day.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously Black Friday is as important as ever to people that are looking for deals. But how do you have a sense of, or do you have a sense of how important Black Friday will be this year, specifically for holiday shopping?
Yeah, so we've asked about 10,000 customers now, where their views are on Black Friday. And whether or not they're specifically going to use it for holiday shopping. And about a third of customers are hoping to get all their holiday shopping done on Black Friday. So that's kind of applying the pressure on for a one big weekend, get it all done type approach. Another 27% are saying that they plan to at least buy some of their Christmas shopping over that Black Friday weekend. And that leaves about 40% of customers that are saying they are not going to do any holiday shopping over the Black Friday weekend. And in fact, about half of customers say that they actively try and avoid shopping in store on that Black Friday weekend. So, it's a polarizing thing. I think some customers are very looking forward to it and they're trying to get all their shopping done on that day, and others are staying well away from it. Yeah, so we shall see.
Where do you fall in that bucket, Gareth? Are you
Very much staying away.
yeah, likewise. So I guess I'm curious, when people are coming into these stores for their holiday shopping. I know I'm a little bit more of a gift hunter. I know the list of who I need to buy for. I don't necessarily know what I'm going to get before I get in there. Am I unique there, or what how much are people planning before they're coming into stores for their holiday shopping?
Yeah, you're very much not unique there. About a third of customers say that they plan their gift buying before visiting the store. So yeah, you've got two-thirds of customers that are walking into that store not knowing what they're going to buy. So if you combine that with what we've said already about, you've got all these customers that haven't purchased yet, and they're not only have they not physically purchased the items, they don't even know what items they're going to buy, and they don't know what items they're going to buy even when they walk into your store. So I think you combine those two things, there's a real opportunity for a retailer that gets this right to maximize their piece of the pie, if you like, of Christmas shopping.
So a majority don't know what they're going to buy when they come in. That's a difficult customer. It's if I'm walking into a hardware store and I need a certain kind of tool or a piece of hardware, that's an easy. I'm an easy guy to help. But somebody who doesn't even know what they want, that can be kind of challenging. So you mentioned a little bit about the role of the staff there. Tell me more. What do customers expect out of the retail staff then? Do they want help when they're doing this gift shopping? Do they want people to stay away? What's that look like?
I mean, I think if we take even just the whole of this year, when customers go into a store, even when they are buying for themselves and you think that they would have a better idea of what they wanting to buy, we've seen that the role of staff has a massive impact on both conversion and on average basket size. Um, and at the same time, I think a real theme talking to retailers this year has been how challenging it has been to get their staff to move from kind of a service mindset to a sales mindset. And what do I mean by that? Well, staff are generally really good at greeting customers. We asked that question, were you greeted when you came into store today? Most stores get very high scores for that. Did that staff ask you what you were looking for, or what requirements you had, or what you were hoping to do, or whatever it might be? Again, staff are really good at that stage, and they're even good at kind of signposting or pointing people in the direction of how they might be helped. Where they start to, I guess, what separates the good stores from the great stores is the kind of follow-on stages of the sales process, and that's really where you get down to: did staff make a specific recommendation on what to purchase? And did staff suggest additional products or services to kind of complement or round out or complete the look or finish the sale or help you get the best from the product you bought, whatever it might be? And I think it's those two final stages where you start to see the real differences. So that's kind of the year as a whole. And then, as you say, you have this Christmas period where more and more customers are going in, not sure what they're going to buy, not buying for themselves, so not sure whether what they're choosing is potentially right. It's kind of a high stress, high pressure environment. There's a clock ticking it's got to be done by this day, and you want to get it right for the people that you love. So I think you've got that kind of perfect storm of distressed customer in a store at a time where there's more and more customers in there. Everyone's peak period is peaking, and so those ratios of customers to staff are increasing. You've got stores that are taking on maybe temporary staff that are less confident about those final stages of the journey, so less confident about making a recommendation and trying to sell additional items and not wanting to seem pushy. And I think in that you've sort of got this perfect storm of it is, as you say, it makes for a very challenging time. But I think for the stores that can get that right, it's an opportunity to really help customers at a time when they need you the most. So yes, it is much more challenging in peak, but I think if you get it right, then it's much more rewarding as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see just kind of what those service expectations or service perceptions are as time goes on, especially with, you mentioned the short-term staff as well. That can always be a nice little challenge to the store teams. And I guess, you don't necessarily expect service to be as strong as it might be in a slower time when, it's just you and a couple of other customers, as opposed to, I mean, I'm picturing exactly what you're talking about, the clock ticking in the background, and you're not alone in that. So it's busy times for stores as well. So I guess with service, possibly not being at its top notch, the other kind of throttle that retailers like to pull for delivering good value and delivering a good experience is discounting and giving better prices. So we talked a little bit about Black Friday, but more generally, what impact will discounts have on holiday shopping this year?
So we asked customers about how important discounts are for them when they're gift buying. And I was surprised by this one, actually. I didn't think it would be as high, but something like 60% of customers are saying that discounts are really important to them when they purchase a gift. And whether that is customers that have set themselves a budget or are strapped and trying to maximize kind of making sure that they can buy everything they need to buy with the money that they have available, or whether it is just they want that sense of getting a deal and kind of maximizing the value of the item that they buy for a loved one. I'm not sure, but they are saying that, yeah, promotions are important. Feeling that they got a deal is important to them. But I think to the point above, I don't think it's the only thing. So yes, you have to be price competitive. I think promotions play a part in that throughout the year, but I don't think you can rely just on those things because I think that feeling of uncertainty of am I buying the right thing will come through quite a lot as well, and that's really where staff can help.
Interesting. We may not have asked questions around this, but you've seen enough data around it. I'm curious if you have a take on. You said you were surprised by how many people have discounts as an influence there and as a factor. Do you think that's because of the inflationary period we're in at all? And are we? Does that match up with value perceptions overall in retail, or tell me a little more about that?
Um, I think if you ask somebody whether a deal is important, they're always going to, probably say yes. Um, do we see that deals really matter and that customers only buy items that are on deal? No, not necessarily. So, um, you know, I think whenever we look at promotions, we almost always get to the point where 50% of the promotions are good and 50% aren't. So I think it's a perception piece, right? You've got to give customers the feeling they're getting a great deal, but I think more for this time of year, you've got to get them the feeling that they bought the right product and it's giving them that reassurance. Now, part of that comes from, well, I got a great deal, therefore I feel good about it. But I think knowing that you bought the right products is important as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So there's not a lot of time left before go time. Especially with you mentioned there's a pretty big scale that's going to tip in these coming couple of weeks of how many people will have their holiday shopping done. So retailers knowing that they don't have a lot of time to make any big adjustments here, what last tips would you give for our store teams that are listening today for this holiday season? What last minute tweaks can they be making in their stores?
I think the stores that kind of get this peak period right will be those that have a sales approach figured out that talks about all those stages of the journey that we talked about: the greet, the understand the customer need, the show them some options, make a recommendation, and kind of assist them with the full sale and leave them feeling good about that. And people have different acronyms about those kind of 5 or 6 stages of the sales process, but I think really embedding that is the most important piece, rather than focusing just on a KPI. I think it's really, there is a danger that you can get too focused on a KPI of your conversion percentage or your average items per basket kind of metrics and not coach staff on these are the behaviors that you want to adopt and positioning those behaviors as when you do these things right, customers will love you for it, they will feel better for you, and they will leave feeling they've made the right decision about their purchase. And I think if you focus too much on the KPI, then the customer sort of gets lost in all that, and it just becomes about these kind of metrics. And I think when the customer gets lost, then staff to a degree also get lost. They sort of lose their purpose or they lose their way. So yeah, I guess overall I would say focus on the behaviors, and if you do that right, then I think the metrics kind of follow on from that afterwards. So yeah, it's all about positioning and coaching, I think, as we go into this period.
Sticking with those fundamentals.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Gareth. I really appreciate the conversation. And thanks to everybody who is watching. I guess keep an eye out for some follow-ups to some of the stats that Gareth shared today. And of course, whether you're a shopper or retailer, do try to find some time to stop and enjoy the holiday season. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.